Chapter 28 Judgment on the King of Tyre. The Lord God said, Ezekiel, son of man, tell the king of Tyre that I am saying, you are so arrogant that you think you are a god and that the city of Tyre is your throne. You may claim to be a god, though you are nothing but a mere human. You think you are wiser than Daniel and know everything. Your wisdom has certainly made you rich because you have storehouses filled with gold and silver. You're a clever businessman and are extremely wealthy, but your wealth has led to arrogance. You compared yourself to a god. So now I, the Lord God, will make you the victim of cruel enemies. They will destroy all the possessions you've worked so hard to get. Your enemies will brutally kill you, and the sea will be your only grave. When you face your enemies, will you still claim to be a god? They will attack, and you will suffer like any other human. Foreigners will kill you, and you will die the death of those who don't worship me. I, the Lord, have spoken. A funeral song for the king of Tyre. The Lord said, Ezekiel, son of man, sing a funeral song for the king of Tyre and tell him I am saying, at one time you were perfect, intelligent, and good-looking. You lived in the Garden of Eden and wore jewelry made of brightly colored gems and precious stones. They were all set in gold and were ready for you on the day you were born. I appointed a winged creature to guard your home on my holy mountain, where you walked among gems that dazzled like fire. You were truly good from the time of your birth, but later you started doing wicked things. You traded with other nations and became more and more cruel and evil. So I forced you to leave my mountain, and the creature that had been your protector now chased you away from the gems. It was your good looks that made you arrogant, and you were so famous that you started acting like a fool. That's why I threw you to the ground and let other kings sneer at you. You have cheated on so many other merchants that your places of worship are corrupt. So I set your city on fire and burnt it down. Now everyone sees only ashes where your city once stood, and the people of other nations are shocked. Your punishment was horrible, and you are gone forever. Judgment on Sidon and peace for Israel, the Lord said. Ezekiel, son of man, condemn the city of Sidon and tell its people, I, the Lord God, am your enemy. People will praise me when I punish you, and they will see that I am holy. I will send deadly diseases to wipe you out, and I will send enemies to invade and surround you. Your people will be killed, and you will know that I am the Lord. When that happens, the people of Israel will no longer have cruel neighbors that abuse them and make them feel as though they are in a field of thorns and briars. And the Israelites will know that I, the Lord God, have done these things. A blessing for Israel. The Lord God said, Someday I will gather the people of Israel from the nations where they are now scattered, and every nation will see that I am holy. The Israelites will once again live in the land I gave to my servant Jacob. They will be safe and will build houses and plant vineyards. They will no longer be in danger, because I will punish their hateful neighbors. Israel will know that I am the Lord their God. Chapter 29 Judgment on the king of Egypt. 10 years after King Jehoiachin and the rest of us had been led away as prisoners to Babylonia, the Lord spoke to me on the 12th day of the 10th month. He said, Ezekiel, son of man, condemn the king of Egypt. Tell him and his people that I am saying, King of Egypt, you were like a giant crocodile lying in a river. You acted as though you owned the Nile and made it for yourself. But now I, the Lord God, am your enemy. I will put a hook in your jaw and pull you out of the water, and all the fish in your river will stick to your scaly body. I'll throw you and the fish into the desert, and your body will fall on the hard ground. You will be left unburied, and wild animals and birds will eat your flesh. Then everyone in Egypt will know that I am the Lord. You and your nation refused to help the people of Israel and were nothing more than a broken stick. When they reached out to you for support, you broke in half, cutting their arms and making them fall. So I, the Lord God, will send troops to attack you, King of Egypt. They will kill your people and livestock until your land is a barren desert. Then you will know that I have done these things. You claimed that you made the river Nile and control it. Now I am turning against you and your river. Your nation will be nothing but an empty water wasteland all the way from the town of Migdal in the north to Aswan in the south, and as far as the border of Ethiopia. No human or animal will even dare travel through Egypt, because no sign of life will be found there for 40 years. It will be the most barren place on earth. Every city in Egypt will lie in ruins during those 40 years, and I will scatter your people throughout the nations of the world. And after those 40 years have passed, I will bring your people back from the places where I scattered them. They will once again live in their homeland in southern Egypt. But they will be a weak kingdom and won't ever be strong enough to rule nations as they did in the past. My own people Israel will never again depend on your nation. In fact, when the Israelites remember what happened to you Egyptians, they will realize how wrong they were to turn to you for help. Then the Israelites will know that I, the Lord God, did these things. King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylonia will conquer Egypt. 27 years after King Jehoiakim and the rest of us had been led away as prisoners to Babylonia, the Lord spoke to me on the first day of the first month. He said, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylonia has attacked the city of Tyre. He forced his soldiers to carry so many heavy loads that their heads were rubbed bald and their shoulders were red and sore. Nebuchadnezzar and his army still could not capture the city. So now I will hand over the nation of Egypt to him. He will take Egypt's valuable treasures and give them to his own troops. Egypt will be his reward, because he and his army have been following my orders. I, the Lord God, have spoken. Ezekiel, when Egypt is defeated, I will make the people of Israel strong, and I will give you the power to speak to them. Then they will know that I, the Lord, have done these things. Chapter 30. Egypt will be a barren desert, the Lord said. Ezekiel, son of man, tell the people of Egypt that I am saying, cry out in despair, because you will soon be punished. That will be a time of darkness and doom for all nations. Your own nation of Egypt will be attacked, and Ethiopia will suffer. You will be killed in battle, and your land will be robbed and left in ruins. Soldiers hired from Ethiopia, Libya, Lydia, Arabia, Kub, as well as from Israel will die in that battle. All your allies will be killed, and your proud strength will crumble. People will die from Migdol in the north to Aswan in the south. I, the Lord, have spoken. Your nation of Egypt will be the most deserted place on earth, and its cities will lie in complete ruin. I will set fire to your land, and anyone who defended your nation will die. Then you will know that I am the Lord. On the same day I destroy Egypt, I will send messengers to the Ethiopians to announce their coming destruction. They think they are safe, but they will be terrified. Your Egyptian army is very strong, but I will send King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylonia to completely defeat that army. He and his cruel troops will invade and destroy your land and leave your dead bodies piled everywhere. I will dry up the river Nile, then the land to evil buyers. I will send foreigners to turn your entire nation into a barren desert. I, the Lord, have spoken. Egypt's proud cities will lie in ruins. The Lord said to the people of Egypt, all the idols and images you Egyptians worship in the city of Memphis will be smashed. No one will be left to rule your nation, and terror will fill the land. The city of Petros will be left in ruins, and Zoan will be burnt to the ground. Thebes, your capital city, will also be destroyed. The fortress city of Pelusium will feel my fierce anger, and all the troops stationed at Thebes will be slaughtered. I will set fire to your nation of Egypt. The city of Pelusium will be in anguish. Thebes will fall, and the people of Memphis will live in constant fear. The young soldiers in the cities of Heliopolis and Bubastis will die in battle, and the rest of the people will be taken prisoner. You were so proud of your nation's power, but when I crush that power and kill that pride, darkness will fall over the city of Taphanes. A dark, gloomy cloud will cover the land as you are being led away into captivity. When I've finished punishing Egypt, you will know that I am the Lord. Egypt's king is powerless. 11 years after King Jehoiachin and the rest of us had been led away as prisoners to Babylonia, the Lord spoke to me on the seventh day of the first month. He said, Ezekiel, son of man, I, the Lord, have defeated the king of Egypt. I broke his arm, and no one has wrapped it or put it in a sling so that it could heal and get strong enough to hold a sword. So tell him that I am now his worst enemy. I will break both his arms, the good one and the broken one. His sword will drop from his hand forever, and I will scatter the Egyptians all over the world. I will strengthen the power of Babylonia's king and give him my sword to use against Egypt. I will also make the wounded king of Egypt powerless, and he will moan in pain and die in front of the Babylonian king. Then everyone on earth will know that I am the Lord. I will force the Egyptians to live as prisoners in foreign nations, and they will know that I, the Lord, have punished them. Chapter 31. Egypt's king will be chopped down like a cedar tree. 11 years after King Jehoiachin and the rest of us had been led away as prisoners to Babylonia, the Lord spoke to me on the first day of the third month. He said, Ezekiel, son of man, tell the king of Egypt and his people that I am saying, you are more powerful than anyone on earth. Now listen to this. There was once a cedar tree in Lebanon with large, strong branches reaching to the sky. This tree had plenty of water to help it grow tall, and nearby streams watered the other trees in the forest. But this tree towered over those other trees, and its branches grew long and thick. Birds built nests in its branches, and animals were born beneath it. People from all nations lived in the shade of this strong tree. It had beautiful long branches, and its roots found water deep in the soil. None of the cedar trees in my Garden of Eden were as beautiful as this tree. No tree of any kind had such long branches. I, the Lord, gave this tree its beauty, and I helped the branches grow strong. All other trees in Eden wanted to be just like it. King of Egypt, now listen to what I, the Lord God, am saying about that tree. The tree grew so tall that it reached the sky and became very proud and arrogant. So I, the Lord God, will reject the tree and hand it over to a foreign ruler, who will punish it for its wickedness. Cruel foreigners will chop it down and leave it wherever it falls. Branches and broken limbs will be scattered over the mountains and in the valleys. The people living in the shade of those branches will go somewhere else. Birds will then nest on the stump of the fallen tree, and wild animals will trample its branches. Never again will any tree dare to grow as tall as this tree, no matter how much water it has. Every tree must die, just as humans die and go down to the world of the dead. On the day this tree dies and goes to the world below, I, the Lord God, will command rivers and streams to mourn its death. Every underground spring of water and every river will stop flowing. The mountains in Lebanon will be covered with darkness as a sign of their sorrow, and all the trees in the forest will wither. This tree will crash to the ground, and I will send it to the world below. Then the nations of the earth will tremble. The trees from Eden and the choice trees from Lebanon are now in the world of the dead, and they will be comforted when this tree falls. Those people who found protection in its shade will also be sent to the world below, where they will join the dead. King of Egypt, all these things will happen to you and your people. You were like this tree at one time, taller and stronger than anyone on earth. But now you will be chopped down just as every tree in the Garden of Eden must die. You will be sent down to the world of the dead, where you will join the godless and the other victims of violent death. I, the Lord God, have spoken.